We're live.
Thank you. Sergeant, can you please start your recording?
PC recording is up.
Thank you. Cloud is done. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's remote New York City Council vote of the Committee on Civil and Human Rights. At this time, would all panelists please turn on your videos? To minimize disruption, please place electronic devices to vibrate or silent. Thank you for your cooperation. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Thank you so very much. Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Eugene, and I'm the chair of the Civil and Human Rights Committee. Thank you for joining our vote on Intro 1208B and Resolution 8374. Today, the committee will be voting on Intro 1208B, sponsored by Councilmember Rosenthal, in relation to prohibiting employers from posting job listings without minimum and maximum salary information. Pay disparity based on race and gender is something we as a society have been working to address for generations. Despite many efforts made to end the wage gap and achieve pay equity, this gap still exists. In fact, research shows very little change over the years, and as of 2020, women still earned 84% of what men earned. The movement to increase pay transparency seeks to increase fairness for job applicants who are otherwise calculating their salary expectation in a vacuum. Intro 1208 would help increase pay transparency by disclosing salary ranges for advertised positions. On December 2nd, 2021, the committee held a hearing on Intro 1208 and heard testimony from representatives from the New York City Commission on Human Rights, advocacy and community organizations, and members of the public. This testimony was used to advise amendments to the bill. Additionally, the committee will hear resolution and 82nd will vote on resolution 8734, sponsored by Councilmember Paul Vallone, by request of the mayor, declaring December 8th as Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Day. I'm sorry for the pronunciation if I didn't do it right. In the city of New York, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur J was the ninth guru of the Sikh religion. During his time as a guru, he went on an extensive tour of India to not only teach Sikhism, but to create awareness of human rights, social justice, secularism, and national unity. I'd like to thank committee staff, Jishwari Ganapati, Committee Counsel, William Righ, Policy Analyst, and Jack Cairn, Finance Analyst. And I would like to thank all the staff from the City Council and all those wonderful people who have worked on those legislation. And I want to also thank my staff, Melissa Wilson, and I want to extend my congratulations also to Councilmember Rosenthal and Paul Vallone. Now I will turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Rosenthal, to give our opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Chair Eugene. Good afternoon.
I'm Councilmember Helen Rosenthal, and my pronouns are she and her. Thank you, Chair Eugene, for including my bills, Intro 1208, now B, for pay range transparency, and Intro 2020A for open captions in movie theaters. Both bills are groundbreaking. On average, women make roughly 85 cents for every dollar white men make. Black and brown women make roughly 50 to 65% of what white men are paid. This bill requires that all job postings and promotions include the minimum and maximum salary offered. Pay transparency brings us one step closer to pay equity. In particular, this bill requires that advertisements for private or public sector jobs, promotions, or transfer opportunities in New York City include a minimum and maximum salary. Employers who do not disclose a salary range for open positions will be engaging in unlawful discriminatory practice. Salary transparency is an actionable way to create a more equitable workplace, both leveling the playing field for job applicants and helping to identify systemic pay inequities. Lack of upfront pay range disclosure necessitates a salary negotiation in which the employer always has the upper hand. This often results in lower wages for women, people who are Black and brown, and those with disabilities, upholding decades of systemic inequity and bias in hiring. Studies show that women's net 7 to 25% lower pay rates than men when the rate is arrived by negotiation. Lack of upfront pay disclosure can also be especially harmful in the case of low-wage jobs. New Yorkers desperately seeking employment learn only at the end of a long process of applications and interviews their salary, and at that juncture are more likely to accept poor terms than had they known the terms in advance. Let's face it, lack of salary transparency is both discriminatory and anti-worker. Every New Yorker should have the right to determine whether they will be able to support themselves and their family when they apply for a job. It is time to level the playing field and restore some dignity to New Yorkers seeking employment. Intro 2020A requires New York City movie theaters offer open captioning, on-screen captions for 25% of showings of each film up to 4 showings per week. Half of those showings must be during peak times on weekends and in the evenings. Roughly 1 in 5 New Yorkers suffers from deafness, ranging from moderate to total. Such a significant segment of the population deserves to fully enjoy movies with ease. While the Americans with Disabilities Act currently requires closed caption systems in movie theaters, long-term experience has shown that the equipment needed fails far too often. And even if they do work, using these devices take away from the enjoyment of the movie. This unfairly burdens users of viewing devices. Providing open captioning is an easy alternative for cinema operators and does not diminish overall movie attendance when scheduled along with uncaptioned screenings, which of course the movie theaters can do. Open captioning in movie theaters also greatly benefits the many New Yorkers who have limited English language proficiency. Thank you, and I'll pass it back to Chair Eugene.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Rosenthal, and again, congratulations, and thank you for your advocacy. And I just want, before I turn it back to the council, I want to acknowledge Councilmember Bound, Councilmember Lander, and Councilmember June. I don't know if there are other council members attending. If not, with this, I turn it back to the council of the committee.
Good afternoon. This is the Committee on Civil and Human Rights. Roll call vote on proposed introductions 1208B, 2020A, and one preconsidered resolution. Chair Eugene.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Barron.
Thank you. I vote aye.
Councilmember Drum.
Oh, can we hold for a moment?
Certainly.
Okay, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, I vote aye with the exception of the one on the movies where I abstain.
Thank you. Councilmember Lander.
I vote aye.
Committee Council, the one with that's 2020A. Thank you.
Yes, the 2020A is the movies.
I
Thank you
believe so.
kindly. Thank you very much. Chair Eugene.
I vote
Proposed
aye.
Thank you, sir.
I'm
That's okay. Proposed intro 1208B and the preconsidered resolution were adopted by a vote of 4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, where intro 2020A was adopted by a vote of 3 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 1 abstention. Thank you.
See if we have Councilmember Rosenthal with her hand raised.
Thank you very much. I just want to mention for the record that there is misinformation that is going around about the cost to movie theaters, and it's unfortunate that that is happening. But I've worked very closely with all of the stakeholders. I should say we have worked closely, really appreciate all the support of the committee council and central staff on this. But you know, I am assured that I feel assured that this is not causing undue burden on the movie industry. It's important to remember that the number of open caption shows will be capped at 4 per week, 2 of which would be during peak times and 2 during non-peak times. There is a very complicated algorithm that is used in this bill. And so it could be easy for one to say, the language is just so complicated that I'm voting no or I'm abstaining. And just to be clear, that complicated algorithm is there to make sure that smaller movie theaters are not overburdened by this new law. And again, for the larger movie theaters, the maximum number of open caption showings will be 4. Thank you so much for giving me that extra minute. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think this is the last intervention or statement about those legislation. With that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.